Okay, we're on Bikkurim, Perek Gimel Mishnah Yud Bet. Essentially, this is the last Mishnah about Bikkurim in Masechet Bikkurim, because the fourth chapter is a total non sequitur that's borrowed from the Tosefta. Well, we'll get into that in the next Mishnah. So the Mishnah concludes about Bikkurim, the fact that Bikkurim are nichsei Kohen. Okay, that Bikkurim, once you give it to the Kohen, it becomes the property of the Kohen. It's not like a korban that belongs to the Kohen, but they eat it in the Beit HaMikdash. Rather, this is more like Truma, that once you give the Truma to the Kohen, he can do other things with it. Okay, and we're going to see that in this case, he can do a lot of things with it. Says the Mishnah, what do we mean when we say Bikkurim are the property of the Kohen, like the property of the Kohen? He can buy with the Bikkurim that has value. So you can buy with it servants and land, and non-kosher animals even. It doesn't have to be food. It's not even like Maaser Sheni that you have to buy edible things. It's his property. He can use the value of the Bikkurim in order to buy other things. Ubal chov notlan bechovo, and a Baal chov, someone he owes money to, can take it with his as payment. Vayisha b'ktubata, and if a Kohen divorces his wife and he owes her money as part of her ketubah, he can pay her off with Bikkurim. It's value. Kis Sefer Torah, like a Sefer Torah. There's another girsa of this Sefer Torah. You can even buy a Sefer Torah. Excuse me. Bartanura says, Kolomar, meaning, the Sefer Torah nami habikuma Bikkurim le'inyan zed. And the Sefer Torah is also similar in that you can use it as the Baal Chov notel b'chovo. If I own a Sefer Torah, I can treat it like my own property and use it to pay off my wife in her ketubah. Perush acher, or another interpretation, this Sefer Torah. What it means is, you can use it, Bachov can use it, Sefer Torah, to buy a Sefer Torah with Bikkurim. That's what he means. He says, Umutar liknot behem Sefer Torah. And then he explains, like, why would you think a Sefer Torah? It's a little bit of an interesting girsa, because why if you could buy a tiger with it, or a hippopotamus, why in the world wouldn't you be able to buy a Sefer Torah? The Bartanura has an explanation of that as well. He has an explanation why the Mishnah includes Sefer Torah, and he says, well, if you have it, normally what they would use to buy a non-kosher animal, they would use it at least to schlep or to produce value from which you could buy food. But a Sefer Torah, you can never buy food with it, because you're never going to sell the Sefer Torah, but whatever. We'll leave it at that. Rabbi Yehuda says, Ein notnim otam ele lechaver b'tova. So I'm going to give you the interpretation of the Bartanura. The Kahati explains it differently. Let's read the Bartanura. Okay, he says, Ein hakohen yachol litain bikurim ele lekohen chaver. She'ochel chulya the Kohen cannot sell it. He can't sell it to anybody. He can't sell it to the hippopotamus salesman and give him Bikkurim instead, because the Bikkurim still has Kedusha. Only a Kohen can eat the Bikkurim. So I guess he was selling it to a Kohen hippopotamus salesman or tiger or whatever. He can't do that. He can only sell it to a Chaver or give it to a Chaver who eats B'tahara, his Chulim B'tahara. V'noten otam bo b'tova b'tarat chesed v'tova. B'tova means, b'tova, i.e. as a favor. The guy can owe him a favor. The guy can, be indebted to him, but not for money. But he can't buy things with it. Okay? You can't even give it to a Kohen. Okay? That's not a chaver. Why? Since Bikkurim, remember, it's not a korban. It's like in the Beit HaMikdash, as we're going to see, any Kohen could eat in the Beit HaMikdash from the meat of the korban because they would treat it properly because it's korban meat. Okay? But here, it was brought into the Beit HaMikdash. And when's Bikkurim? Always Bikkurim. Yes, it's the property of the Kohen, but even if I sell it to somebody else, I say, okay, here, give me $100 and here's the Bikkurim. That Kohen has to treat it with Kedushat Bikkurim. And therefore, Chayshina, and Rabbi Yehuda was afraid if you didn't give it to a Kohen Chaver, Chayshina Dilma Lo Mizdaherbu. We were afraid he's not going to be careful with it. So therefore, according to the Bartanura, while the Tanna Kama says the Kohen can sell it to anybody, Rabbi Yehuda says, Ein notnim otam ela lechaver b'tova. You can only give it to a chaver, but b'tova, he's going to owe you, he'll be indebted to you. The Chachamim say no. Notnim otam la'anshei mishmar. You can give them to anyone in the whole mishmar. The other mishmar, remember, we learned is that watch. That watch in the Beit HaMikdash. They divided among themselves. Just like the Kachei HaMikdash, as I said, just like the Korban and the Mikdash, Kachei HaMikdash, the Bartanura says, Kishar Kachei Mizbach, whether they're a Chaver or not. Remember we said they don't use them for Avodah, so maybe they're not going to treat them right. So the Chachamim said, since they're offered, the Yisrael brought it to the Beit HaMikdash. It was in the Azara. Mizdaharei behu. They're nizar. They're careful. V'lo atu lemichlinu betuma. They won't eat it betuma. So therefore, we have a three-way machloket according to the Bartunura. Tanakama says you could sell it. Rabbi Yehuda says you can give it away, but only to a chaver Kohen who's a chaver. And the Chachamim say you can give it away to anybody in the Mishmar because they're going to treat it like the basar of the korban. They're going to treat it like something that was brought in the Beit HaMikdash on the Mizbeach. We'll stop here. Dedicate this learning, as we always do, to memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Halman. And you can email me at this email address if you have comments. Have a great day.